JT Taylor, and this is Dry Snitch. Hey guys, welcome to episode 9 of Dry Snitch, right? 9?
I don't know.
9, you could call it 8B, but we're just going to call it 9 because we want to and keep it simple. I'm JT, I'm your host. This is my beautiful wife, Melissa, who is back in as co-host tonight because it's interrogation time.
I'm just going to take over soon.
She's going to take over. Everybody seems to want her. All the comments. Oh, keep more Melissa, more Melissa. It's like this. More Melissa, more Melissa. Yeah, see that? It's not your imagination. That's what's happening. All right. But, yeah, so last week we were talking with Melissa about the questions that I had for her. And so we're going to finish that up. Like I said, by the way, if anybody's never turned into Dry Snitch before, this channel is all about jail, prison. We are locked up currently right here. They're letting us borrow this equipment to get through to you and have a visit together. But what the hell was that?
Bonita bird.
Our dogs, you gotta love it. Dogs are locked up too. They got long sentences, very long.
No, they had visitation today.
Oh, okay. And so, yeah, it's all about jails, prisons, drugs, addiction, street life gangs, and then recovery from that, turning it around, giving your life to Christ, which is what we do now. We are definitely not perfect, neither one of us. I'm a lot closer.
I was
with
just
her.
going to say,
But,
I'm closer.
but we're here. We're just sharing our experiences, hope, and truth with you guys, and hopefully somebody hears it and can, they can understand, and hopefully they get something out of it as well. So I was talking to Melissa last week and asking her some of the things that she goes through as a wife. It's good to know, from the person in the relationship with the addict or the convict, whatever the case may be. If they've gone to jail, if they've gone to prison, if they're in their addiction, how does it feel for the female? So, or the male, if it's a whatever. These days, you never know. Male, female with female, who knows? Him, shim, they. What's the pronouns? I don't know how to.
I think it's they.
They. Let's figure out if they can identify. So anyway, we're gonna get right back into it. And there was a time. We're not going to give any exact dates or anything like this, but me and Melissa have been married now for about 3.5 years, but we've been together for some years before that. And I didn't start turning my life around. I started turning it around actually when I got out of prison last time. But there's been some bumps in the road, definitely been some bumps in the road, and I've had some slips and some mistakes that I've made and some just dumb decisions that I've made, and they affect our loved ones. There's no doubt about that. And so there was a time when I called you from the police station, and I told you that I had been arrested, that I was going to jail. I was going to have to spend the night and then go to bond court in the morning. And I was, what was your thought process at that time?
Well, I remember the night well. I was here, I was making dinner, and I hadn't heard from Jeff. And I think he's referenced, if you've watched these episodes, if you haven't, go back and watch some of the previous. He has referenced before that I'm paranoid sometimes if I don't hear from him regularly. Well, that night was no different, and it's probably why I kind of am the way I am. I was making dinner, and I get feelings, and sometimes I get a bad feeling, and sometimes I'm right, and I had a bad feeling that night, and I got a phone call, and it was late and it was from an unfamiliar phone number. And I knew to answer it. I don't answer the phone if I don't know who it is. I knew to answer it, and it was Jeff, and he was immediately very apologetic. Baby, I'm sorry I screwed up. And I remember my response was, "Are you trying to kill me?" And I was mad. I was really mad. And I had to go, about an hour away and go to the hospital. I had to go to the hospital, not the police station. I had to go to the hospital, and I remember telling them that I was there to see him, and
why was I there? You could tell them why I was there.
So Jeff had relapsed and was using, and I had suspicions. He changes, so I had my suspicions, and he was arrested for shoplifting, and he had referenced this before. He was he got caught. He was arrested, and it was for retail theft, and so I was unhappy and mad and in my casual clothes, and I came in, and they immediately stopped me, and very lovely. There were 2 police officers there when I got there, but after some time there was just one, and it was a very lovely woman police officer. She was super nice to me, and she let me come in.
And why I was in the hospital is actually what I was saying.
Oh, is that what I thought you meant?
No, but it's okay.
Okay. He was in the hospital because, well, for real.
Well, when I use, I get asthma attacks.
But when he gets arrested, he also exacerbates that attack.
There's times that I do. This was one of those.
He exacerbates the attack so he can go to the hospital and not to jail. And I don't know the reason for that.
Because there's been plenty of times. Well, first of all, they're going to treat you better at the hospital. You're going to probably be there for about 4 or 5 hours, and you're going to spend the night at the police station, okay? And when you get to the police station, if you come straight to the police station, they're just going to book you in like 5 minutes. You're inside a cold, dark cell, and that's it until the morning. And so it might sound stupid, it might sound petty or whatever, but, and here's another reason. Officers and police departments as a whole hate having to babysit somebody at the hospital, okay? They have to assign somebody to be on that post 24 hours. So if they can get on the phone and get your charge amended to a misdemeanor and not a felony, they will do it like that, and they'll also give you an I bond like that. So literally, I've gone in the hospital, and they thought it was going to be felony retail theft. And within a half an hour of me being there, they were coming and having me signing an I-bond slip. And they were unlocking me, and they leave. And as soon as they leave, by the way, I'm not in trouble if I leave. I just do. I mean, I didn't really have an asthma attack generally, So if I wasn't really having an asthma attack, I unhook myself and go. This time when I went, she forgot to bring up one thing or she didn't know this though yet, so she might have got this to her store, but when they searched me, which they always do, the pat down, the initial security officers didn't find anything on me, but the police officer did, and he found two heroin bags in my pocket that had just like
empty.
No, they weren't empty. There was
Pretty much empty.
Huh?
Pretty much empty.
Yeah, there was like, if it was $10 worth, there was maybe $2 in each bag. I have no idea why that was even in there. You forget a lot of things when you're under the use of heroin. A lot of the times it's because it's cut with Xanax, so it's kind of Xanax is a benzodiazepine, and they call it, or I call it, a mind eraser because it has you black out. So I was also there for possession. They hadn't told her that yet, but when she got there, the officer asked me, "Hey, do you want?" You don't have to tell her we can't tell her anything. You're above 18 years old. That's your business. Whatever you want to tell her, And, believe it or not, if any of you have somebody who is an addict in your life that loves you, and they're lying to you in their addiction, if they're anything like me, they hate lying to you. Like, this is the person I chose to spend the rest of my life with, and she chose to spend it with me. And here I am lying to this woman who's my best friend, my lover, my confidant, my wife, my, soul companion, whatever you want to call it. She's all that to me, And so anytime she asked me anything that I knew I had to lie about, that hurt, So when the cop got there, I said, listen, I'm just going to tell her if she asks me, And I don't think she even asked, but I said, just so you know, they also found, 2 baggies with some residue in it. So, you can go ahead.
So, like I said, the officer, she let me into the room, and he looked terrified. Not because he was arrested, he looked terrified to see me. And in true Melissa Italian fashion, I walked in and I saw him handcuffed to the bed, and I said, this is every wife's dream, to see her husband handcuffed to the bed. And I said, which I'm not proud of, I said, this is it, we're done. I'm done. Not doing this anymore. And all the times in our relationship that you said that God sent us to be together, I said, you came from the devil. And he broke down, and I walked out of the room, and I heard him telling the police officer that his life was over. And she was so nice. She was so good. She said, no, she came. She came. That means she still cares about you. And I don't remember like every little bit of that, but all in all, she walked me outside and went to her car to get his belongings to give me. Jeff had just had an accident, and he had a rental, and she gave me the keys to the car, and I had to find out where the car was, and the car was at the mall where he had gotten arrested, and I had to go to get the car. So I don't remember if it was the same night or the next day. I called my girlfriend and I asked her if she would take a ride out with me to go get the car. And she did. It must have been that night because it was late.
That was the same night.
It was the same night. It was late, and I'm mad, and I'm talking to myself, and I'm telling myself that I'm done, it's over, I'm done, and I started to go through his things to see what I was going to find, and I found lots of drugs in the bag. And then I was mad that I was driving a car with, 9 bags of heroin in it.
Yeah, it's something that's weird to me. Like, I mean, well, first of all, thank God that those were not in my pocket when I got caught. And the crazy thing is, if those 2 bags weren't, I intended them everything to be together, obviously, you know, and I don't know how they got left there, but they did. And had those been in the backpack with the rest of my stuff in the car, I would have been. In fact, I would have never left the house. I would have. They would have probably given me a ticket from the mall and told me to go home, or brought me to the station and released me immediately on an I-bond because it was just a misdemeanor. They tried to call and that's another thing. A lot of people don't realize this, but they have the officers actually have some power as far as if they're going to keep it as a misdemeanor or a felony if there's any kind of, because when they call, they actually call the state's attorney's office to have to get it approved if it's eligible to be a felony. But they changed the law since I had left. It's been a while. See, I hadn't gotten in trouble in so many years that they changed the law. It used to be anything over $150 was a felony, and now it's over like 500 or 1,000. I don't even know, and I don't care. But it qualified. But that was it. It qualified, and when she called, since she was in the hospital, I got to hear everything she said. She goes, "Nope. Yes, he admitted it. Yes, he's been very, very accommodating. He's been very nice to us. She was just basically telling the state's attorney, if you can, cut him a break here." And I got a background that is extensive, but I think it was a combination of it's been so long and her saying that they only gave me a misdemeanor for that, and a felony for the drug. So there's no way of getting around that. So I left from there. Melissa left, and you went home, and I know that you called a bunch of people, so you can, if you wanted to say what happened after when you got home. I don't know everything.
So I should say my emotions were very high. This was the day after, literally the day after, we buried my best friend. So, you don't remember that? It was the day after Jen's wake. So it was the day after. So my emotions were already high. I'm feeling bad. Now my husband's arrested. I had to call my girlfriend. My girlfriend, she's been my rock through everything. She's been there for me when things have happened, and kind of there to scoop me up. Because this is not something that you could talk to everybody about. It's not like you can just call anybody. And I learned this the hard way because I did make a decision, and I didn't know what to do. I've never been in this situation. I've never been with somebody who's been arrested. I don't know how to do it. But I was told that he would be at 26 in California for bond court in the morning. And I told my parents, and they were not supportive and got in my head. And as I sat in front of 26 in California, afraid, not knowing where to go, not knowing when his bond court was, trying to figure things out. It was really early in the morning, trying to find some place to park, very afraid of the neighborhood that I was in. They talked me into leaving, and I did. So I left. And I don't think it was until late that night I left. I came home. I started packing Jeff's things. I went through his man cave, and I, would unearth more evidence of what he was doing. And I started just folding his clothes, and I was bagging everything in garbage bags, and I was being very respectful of his things. T-shirts went in one bag, jeans went in another bag. I wasn't going to be a monster. But I wanted him to be gone, you know. And I came home and I told the dogs, "Your daddy's not coming back," and um, apologized to them. And I went and changed the code on the garage. I went and told my neighbor to please give me back the key. That, you know, Jeff and I were going through some things, and I didn't want him to be put into any kind of a precarious situation to where he'd be, you know, talked into having to give him the keys. That I didn't want him in the house. And Jeff called me probably about 11 or 12 o'clock that night and said he was out. So I said I wouldn't go.
Let me break in right there. Catch them up with what was going on with me. That by now it seemed like 5 days had passed to me. It's so long when you're in there, you know. And first they told us that we were gonna be. They actually told her. They told Melissa that we were going to be at a different courtroom. We were going to be in Rolling Meadows the next morning for court. They took us from the police station to Rolling Meadows, like that's where we're going to court. And then we're just sitting there in a car, and I'm like, "Aren't we getting out?" They're like, "No, you're not going to court here. You're going to court 26 California." I go, "Then why would your officer have told my wife to come to Rolling Meadows?"
It was because it was a Sunday.
And
they didn't have court on Sunday.
No,
it was because of the day of the week.
It was Saturday. And weekend court or whatever. But he said, "I don't know." And I said, "Somebody needs to call my wife and tell her that it's at 26 in California." And somebody did eventually call her, I guess. And I've gone to bond court there 100 times. And usually you're at bond court by they take you super early at 5 o'clock in the morning from the police station. None of it makes sense. The way they do things is so back-assward. It makes no sense if they try to... if they tried to do one of those studies to see if they were, making good use of their time and stuff like that they would probably be executed, because it's the state and the county, I'm going to say 95% of government workers that I've ever met are the laziest people on the planet. There's some great ones out there, but most of them are very, very lazy and very ignorant, very rude, just in all. But then there's some who are, the ones that stand out are so awesome. But anyway, they, usually you get to 26 California, six, my dog's hair's all over my place. You usually get there 6:30 in the morning, and you're in court by 8:30, 9 o'clock, 9:30. 9:30 rolls around, we're not in court. 10 rolls around, 11, 12, 1. Now, they give us, by the way, a bag lunch as soon as you get to the county, 7 o'clock in the morning is when they fed us. And we didn't go to court until 6 p.m. It was 5:30 p.m. And by then I'm I don't know if she stayed, and I'm thinking her and our friend Corey are out there, the friend who is so a rock to her. She's an awesome girl. I thank God for her every day. But she, I'm asking the guard, are there two white girls out there? Or so a white girl and a Mexican Italian girl? I'm just describing them to him. And he's like, "Yeah, there's two girls out. There's two girls." And then about a half an hour before I got called, he goes, "There's nobody left out there anymore." And I'm like, wow, it broke my heart. I wasn't even thinking about whether I'm going to go home or not. She wasn't there. And that, what she told me when she left the hospital room was, "I'll be there tomorrow." She said, "I'll be there through this, but then I'm out of here." Well, she wasn't even there for this. She's gone. She had left me. And she I didn't know that they talked her out of leaving. She had previously told me that she ran out of quarters because you have to.
I did.
Um,
And you're right, it was a Saturday because Sunday you don't have to pay to park. So it was a Saturday, and everywhere I went, I thought, because I've been to 26 in California a million times for jury duty, I thought I could park in a parking garage, and I wasn't stressed out about it. But you can't. That's for jurors. So you have to find street parking, and it's all metered parking. And I didn't have any change, and it turns out now I know you don't use change. You use a credit card because you have to put it in the machine and
yeah.
put your license plate in. But I didn't stick around. I parked in an apartment building and listened to it from my parents and just decided to go.
And so when she's not there, I just I was in. It's like everything else was like a blur. I didn't care. I didn't care. My life was over as far as I was concerned. If she's leaving, and I'm like, I don't know how to explain this because of course I'm gonna say this because I'm the addict, but I'm thinking Melissa will back me up on this. The worst thing you could do if you've got an addict for a spouse, for a husband or a wife, and if they ever get in trouble or whatever, and you ever, want, if ever possible, there to be a chance of, saving that marriage, the worst thing you could do is go run and tell everybody what happened. Because, like, that's the worst. It's the worst thing that you can do because all those people are going to be, oh, poor Melissa. Screw him. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm not around, so they're not having to say it to my face. They're not, and they just poured it on her. Like, anyway, I got out that night. They gave me an I bond. They were giving everybody pretty much. The two or three people in front of me were there for a gun, and they gave them an I bond. So I knew I had a pretty good shot. Get an I bond. I got one. I go outside. I'm telling this guy. He goes, I don't know how to get home from here. Blah 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 blah. And I'm like, he was a white guy. Over there is a Hispanic and black neighborhood, and he's not from the city. He's from the suburbs. So he was scared. He didn't know how to get to a bus, a train, or anything. And I told him, I got you.
And it was January.
It was January. It was cold out.
And it was late.
Yeah, and it was, by the time we got out there, it was about midnight. And that's another thing. We went to court at 5:30, 6 o'clock, and it was well after 11 because they switched court. That's what I mean about state workers. So what they did is that shift said, well, we're not processing these guys. We've only got, 5 of our 8 hours left. We're not going to work for it. And they let us sit there until the next shift came on and processed us out. They literally let us sit there for 6 hours. And no food, by the way, since 7 o'clock in the morning. We'd gone, 18 hours, 19 hours without food. And so I told the guy, don't worry. When we get out, me and you, I'll show you where to go. I'll take you to, we'll get on the same train and then you just keep taking it from where I get off. He's like, okay. And as soon as we get out there, he's wanting to stop and ask people for cigarettes. I'm like, man, come on, let's get out of here. Like, you can get killed over there. Like, that's not a joke. And me and him start walking, and he goes, is that my dad? And it was his dad. And so he asked his dad, can we give this guy a ride? He was going to help me. Like, this guy was really going to help me, Dad. I didn't know where to go. The guy's like, well, I'm not going near Bartlett. I live near the airport. I'm like, well, if you can just drop me off, like, by you, I'm at least closer to home or whatever. He was really weird dude, and he lets me in his car and we start driving and I call one of my friends and my friend's like, man, you're not far from me. Just have him drop you off at my house in Maywood and I'll take you home from there. And so I did. And my friend took me home and I called Melissa and I said, hey, I'm coming home. And she's like, well, you're not staying here and stuff. And she didn't really understand the law. Like, it's my house too. Like I can stay here. I've got mail here. I've been living here for years. Like, I've got rights, but I didn't want to argue with her. I'm just saying, listen, just calm down or whatever. And I came home and, of course we had a huge argument. She was still saying it's over, but I can spend the night. I got to leave in the morning. She's still thinking that she's doing me a favor, letting me stay there. And I'm just let her. I don't want to fight. Like, I don't want to be like, well, I'm right and you're wrong at this point. I'm the one completely in the wrong, you know. But, she was angry and she starts telling me, I called my mom and my mom says I should leave you. I go, come on, your mom loves me. And she flat out told me, she said she doesn't love you anymore. And like like I'm close to her mom. Like, me and her mom would go out to lunch together, we go to the gym together, just me and her. Like, I'm like, what? And like, when Melissa's angry about something like that, how there's that line that you just, you might tiptoe up but you don't cross it. She doesn't slow down. She goes over the line and past it by a million miles. Does not care what she says when she's upset. There's just that block in her head. Doesn't exist. The filter is gone.
Well, it does exist. What he doesn't understand is that I have repressed so much up until the point that this happens that it blows. It blows. I told you guys that leading up to this, I knew something was going on. I know my husband. I know when he's not himself. And sometimes I'm wrong. Usually I'm not if there's enough of a pattern. And in that case, I knew it. Like, I knew it before the phone call came. I knew it. And so he gets the repressed Melissa for a long time until Melissa completely blows. I mean, I am Italian and Mexican.
That's sort of true. I'm sure that you see it that way. But I mean, just because if you're in a relationship, please remember this too. And one's an addict and the other one's not, doesn't mean the addict's though always wrong and the other person's always right. But I'm sure the other person, because the addict is causing so much more of the problems, that they feel like, well, whatever they do wrong is just doesn't count, and it's like I can't compare who's hurt more. Like, I've obviously hurt her a lot more than she's ever deserved, but I've never ever tried. I've never done anything to her to try to hurt her, and that's what sucks about being an addict is you can try all you want to. You're using only hurting you, but it's not. Anybody who loves you and cares about you is being hurt every time you use. Every time you pick up, they're being hurt. And as much as you try to forget that, it's just not the case. And so when they do something that is completely bogus, completely wrong, and like uncalled for, they don't I don't think I can't speak for everybody, but at least in relationships I've been in, they don't see that because all of my stuff is so much a bigger pile. They're like, well, why would we talk about these little, kind of like the Bible says, why are you pulling the splinter out of your brother's eye when you have a plank in your own, but that person still does have a splinter in their eye. You know what I'm saying? He doesn't say like, but the Bible tells me to worry about my own and then worry about getting, hers, fixed or whatever. So I was the problem, obviously, by a million miles. And, she was hurt. And I mean, she called her biological dad, who she doesn't even talk to, and told him or whatever. And then to this day, he still doesn't like me. Like
I called him because I thought I was going to need someone who can loan me some money. That's what I called him for.
Okay, but that
I didn't expect the reaction that I got from him. I thought he would want, at the very least, to support me. But that's not the way that it happened.
Right. And we're talking about we're not even going to get into it because it's not of it's not our business to tell anything about him. But everybody is. I am now the Antichrist in everybody's eye. And everybody, yeah, if they know about it, yeah, I don't expect them not to be upset with me. I mean, I can't even tell, like, her not to listen to them or whatever, because if I were her mom or her dad, would I want my daughter with an addict who's a criminal? Hell no. No. I'm not around them 24 hours a day, though, 7 days a week to see that this guy loves my daughter. The way he treats her, he loves my daughter. They don't see that. They don't get to see that, You see glimpses of it on Facebook here or there and think, oh, nice. They don't know. They don't know beyond that, But, she's got her right to be mad. And so this is where we were at that point. And so now we get to the next day. And
I don't really remember what happened after that.
Also, the next day, and we'll wrap this up because we're trying to keep these around a half an hour. But the next day, we talked, and she started saying, I told her I was going to go to treatment, and I had called already a couple of treatment places, but you don't usually get in right away. You usually have to go on some kind of waiting list sometimes. It depends, And so she's like, well, you can't stay here. And then little by little during the day, I think I'd catch her looking over at me and, crying and crying. She cries all day and I'm crying because I heard her, And, when it came down to it, here we are now. Okay, stay here until, your bed opens up. But I'm going to have to tell my mom that you're not staying here because otherwise she's going to be mad at me. And, like, you're going to have to hide if she comes over, like, all this crazy stuff. And I'm like, so badly I want to say, you don't get it. I have the right to stay here by law. You can't tell me to move. You can't tell me to leave. None of that,
Yeah, but when someone's hurt you,
yeah.
You want them to be man enough to say, I'm not going to stay here if I'm not wanted.
And that's exactly what I did. I told her that. And yeah, that's what I'm saying. That I would never throw that in her face and say, I'm not, well, I'm going to stay here anyway. Like, I'm not going to do that. I'm like, I've never stayed a night under anybody's roof unless I was more than welcome, unless I was wanted to be there, and that's always going to be the case, I hope. So, time starts to heal stuff. I went to treatment and I worked on things and things got better and things have continued to get better. And there's been little slips and this kind of stuff along the way. And we'll tell you about another story another time.
Actually, I think I confused stories, didn't I?
Well,
This isn't the.
You went to one without the other.
No,
we're not going to go into that now. Yeah, this is the one that. Yeah, this is the one. You got everything right. The other one is the one I stated. But anyway.
No, I know. I'm just saying I confused the time frame. This isn't the one that happened after Jen's wake.
That's what I was going to say. No, it did not happen after Jen's wake. It was nowhere near anybody dying. So, anyway, we're gonna wrap it up tonight. It's already about 40 minutes, and we don't get to always, have the right to decide when we're gonna leave or not. Sometimes, and I think he's coming down the hall now. Sometimes he's got something to say. And there we go. So, thanks guys for tuning in. We will hopefully see you next time on episode. It will be episode 10 next time.
Unless
number
it's
10.
at 9, because this was 8B.
No, we said we're gonna go at 9. She doesn't listen as good as you guys do.
No, you said we can call it whatever we want.
Oh yeah, but we'll go at 9. I said. So.
You're not the boss.
I think I am actually. Thanks, guys. Thanks for tuning in. And remember, if somebody out there is sick, struggling, needs some help, please point them in a direction to get some help. Have them listen to some of these videos. Number 7 would be a great one. Episode 7. And if they can't find help, reach out to me, talk to me in my comments, and I promise I'll do my best to try to help you guys out too.
Well, and don't forget to like and subscribe.
Yes, please like and subscribe, guys. That means everything towards getting this videos out to more people to help. I don't get paid for this stuff. Neither one of us gets paid. We got to pay for all this equipment and stuff, but
he's going to have to start paying me.
We don't get paid. Yeah, actually, I do pay. But so thanks for listening, guys. Please subscribe. It doesn't cost you a penny, not 1 red cent. Just subscribe and like the videos. We appreciate it. Thanks, guys. See you soon. Bye.